Hey folks, and welcome to another video from A Plain Truth. I want to show this little video clip here in a minute about how lasers are used and how they can be used in much greater ways, but in a minor way too. But geoengineering is off the hook. Everywhere is reporting around the world that we're seeing massive amounts of geoengineering going on. These are the Tesla waves. You can see them here in action. Some are calling them popcorn clouds, perpetual waves and whatnot. We're seeing them going on everywhere. But here is the technology using these scalar waves, is what we're calling them. The scalar waves are being used to monitor and to control and to change weather, mind control, and many other applications as well. And then they got the newspaper, the anchor woman here in the leopard dress talking about geoengineering, the new normal. Look at that picture, folks. You're going to tell me that's normal? Look at the lens below. And then look at this picture. This is in Sweden, I think. You see the solar lens there, the sun simulator, the fake sun. They're doing it to us. All right, let's look at lasers. This is a video from a laser fire. Here, I'll put the sound on so you can hear it. But watch the way this thing moves. Watch how it advances out of nowhere on green brush, on wet vegetation. Look at it move. All right, so now let's go into a side of shop. This is what's called a Lichtenberg machine, and this machine carves laser on wood. And you can see how it's directed energies. It carves it extremely precisely on wood. The wood is treated with baking soda. In the real world, in the forest, we have aluminum oxide, the desiccants that are being sprayed from above to be the conductive material. But here you can see the hot fires just start out of nowhere. Now this is on wood, folks. These are in forests and whatnot, and you can see how it burns.
In the middle, it'll do that one right there. It was a big one right there, and now that's fire. It turned into fire right through that area, and you can see it crawling towards each other. And the end design is the most amazing thing that you can enjoy about this whole thing. If you see how it's crawling slow, that made the most beautiful mark right there. You can see how it's, it went across the edge and it's still sending power through. And that's when I turned it off. So I went ahead and turned it off. Now I turned it off, and now I'm brushing more fluid on.
The wildfire season, unfortunately, has gotten off to a catastrophic start in California. This year alone, across the country, some 7,000 square miles has burned across at least 14 states. To put that in perspective, that's equivalent to about 300 Manhattan islands.
The heat of these wildfires has been so intense that these fires are creating their own weather. Clouds, rain, and even fire tornadoes, people. These twisting whirlwinds of flame and ash, dubbed firenadoes, that's right, or fire whirls, are putting firefighters and Mother Nature in a constant battle to gain control. Objects and debris are picked up in the whirl, sending them thousands of feet into the air and causing more surrounding fires, intensifying the wildfire. The fire isn't just spreading across land. The extreme heat and erratic winds shoot firenadoes into the sky. A firenado can be large enough to rip trees from the ground and even pull roofs off houses.
But in this case, it's the heat from the fire as well as the air temperature that causes these spinning vortices known as firenadoes. And they can be as narrow as a foot in diameter to as big as 500 feet in diameter.
We're all learning about directed energy weapons, the causal factors, how they work and whatnot, and I want to get into it a little more. We're seeing USA Today now trying to stoke the fires with this new normal, Firenado's explanation, but before they can get into it, we need to understand about directed energy basics. Now first, about forest fires. An average surface fire on the forest floor might have flames reaching 1 meter, which is maybe 10 feet, 10.5 feet in height, and can reach temperatures of 800 centigrades or 1,472 degrees Fahrenheit. Remembering cars, glass melts at 2,500. Cars melt around same temperatures, and we're talking double the temperatures here from a forest fire. Okay. So like we've been saying, these fires and laser fires, directed energy, have gone back a long ways. The first Iraq War in 1991. This is the Oakland Hills in California in 1991. And until Mr. Anthony Haywood disclosed to me and showed me, I didn't realize the Oakland Fire Hills in 1991 had almost the exact profiles. Look at the house untouched, folks. It's the exact same type of profile. Look at the cars. This is from 1991. Torched, yet the trees are fine. Again, Oakland, October 1991, we're seeing this. And take a look at this picture here. And again, this is from the Oakland fires. And look at this fire. Look at how all the shrubbery and the bush and the vegetation have been cut away. That's been cleared. But look at it climbing the wall, and it's going to engulf those homes. Look at the vortex. Look at the tornado, folks. Same stuff from 1971 and the infamous half a house burned, which John Knox put out the video on so well. The military has had the technology for a very long time. Tesla technology, free energy 100 years ago. So the vortex is creating these massive, massive walls of heat and flames, creating their own Firenados. Yeah, bullshit. It's the vortex energy created by the laser devices, as we are proving here with the research. Look at this from a plane. It's busting through the clouds. This stuff is going straight up. There's no weather. There's no wind, they're saying. It's straight up. Where did the storms come from? We still don't know here in Santa Rosa. And look at the lightning. We have pictures of it. Dane Wigington says, well, show me pictures, Dane. Well, Dane, here's pictures. Here's pictures of lightning strikes. They're visible and invisible, but when they hit the particulate matter of air with all the soot and the smog and whatnot, they can be seen. But for the most part, they're invisible. So, Mr. Wigington, you need to correct yourself. We do have pictures of lasers. If you care to see, care to look, they're right here, Mr. Wigington, and you need to get up to speed on laser technology with all your expertise working on a Bechtel 30 years ago and on a cover of a solar magazine. So look at this house, folks. How did it burn? From above with a directed energy weapon. How about this one, folks? How did it burn? From above with weaponized directed energy weapons. And again, we'll leave the tennis court. We may use it someday when we scorch the rest of the earth for our Agenda 21. And wrapping around a pipe, steel wrapping around a tree. Can you tell me that's the new normal? And the animals, folks, we're seeing animals bloated from the inside. They've been targeted. And check this out. I didn't even have heard this before. If you know anything about cymatics, these are waves in the ocean that are being terraformed or waterformed through harmonic vibrational frequencies, whether they're being conducted from above or from below. I don't know. I'm just learning about this as well. But look at these wave patterns. They're clearly being generated by some type of sound vibration frequency technology, Tesla technology. Free energy, vortex energy. And then take a look at this that I found on Facebook, posted in Finland. The Aurora Borealis gone wild. They're just effing with us, folks. We need to wake up. We need to take back our world and speak out and let your truth be heard. And here's the other crucial point that needs to be made is the aluminum being sprayed by geoengineering over decades caused the aluminum oxide to accelerate the fires. These desiccants are accelerants that accelerate the fires, and that's why firemen have never seen these types of fires before. Heads up and on a swivel, plain truth out. Peace. Lie. This is from just today, August 3rd, 2018. Interesting, as I was just researching this. Crop circles created using GPS, lasers, and microwaves. Remember remember the crop circles that were going on in England and all over the place, and we're wondering how they did it, how they folded the wheat crops, the sheaves down into specific patterns, and were able to do it without anyone seeing it. It just appeared in the middle of the night. Directed energy weapons, folks, using lasers, microwaves, and GPS technology to create ever larger and more elaborate patterns. An analysis of evidence in Physics World Journal report that researchers had used magnetrons, tubes which use electricity and magnetism, there it is, electromagnetism, to generate intense heat to mimic the physical changes in the flattened stalks in some circles which are linked to radiation. Professor Taylor, director of the Materials Science Institute at the University of Oregon, said the findings suggest that crop circle artists may be using magnetrons found in microwave ovens or similar technology to complete their detailed patterns in space in a few hours. All they do is put a stencil in front of the laser with the screen, a stencil in the middle of the night with invisible rays. They create crop circles, problem solved. Let's move on. Oh, and just one more point. Do you remember when we had the picture? Let me get one up here. I just want to tie the crop circles into the whole UFO unidentified flying object. You see, this is one of the Indonesian crop circles, and I used to get all into this. I think thought it was messages coming around our planetary systems and how they were showing us all that the energies from outside were telling us that there's a much bigger world and all that nonsense. And do you remember here? Let me see if I can find it. The one where they were supposedly communicating with the radio beams they sent into space, and space responded with a specific code that was all on it. Now we know it's all a bunch of bullshit. And here's the Chilbolton photograms allegedly around this satellite tower here in this crop field, which was dictated from, I believe, down in South America, Peru maybe, where the SETI sent the signals out into space and responded, and they responded in the code of our radio frequency and blah, blah, blah. We communicated with other life. Again, a bunch of bullshit.